everybody. Now welcoming on very special guest, Michael Snyder. He is a third baseman for the University of Washington Huskies baseball team. Michael, we're excited to have you on.
Yes, very excited to be here and finally get to talk some baseball with you guys.
Yeah, it's good. We try to mix in some interviews, especially in the off season, and what better time right after Christmas. Duncan and I able to do this one in person, and yeah, cool connection. Met you a couple months ago. Connection with my sister and Parker, her boyfriend, and then Parker's sister, and just a whole like you're just like one person away from knowing people. But yeah, fun connection, and we got to watch that exciting Huskies win over Oregon, which was long overdue, but that was a nice win. But yeah, watch that game together and just got to chop it up for a while. So excited to officially bring you on here.
Yeah, super excited to be here and let's get this thing rolling.
Yeah.
Well, cool. We love doing interviews, mainly just to hear people's stories and kind of anything from their upbringing to their influences. So just start out by telling us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, kind of your passion for baseball, and then how you got to where you're at today.
Absolutely. So I'm from Los Angeles, California, more specifically Woodland Hills, so Southern California, not NorCal. I played baseball my entire life. I've played since I was about 3 years old in the backyard with my mom. She used to throw me wiffle balls, and that kind of was like start of like, oh, you kind of like doing this thing where you hit a ball with a bat. Like, oh, it's cool. And that was honestly her just trying to keep me busy when I was a little kid. Like, what do I do with a little kid? So, started playing when I was about 3 years old, played pony baseball from 3 to 15 years old, just standard, coach pitch to travel ball to all-stars, and kind of just that little kid journey of baseball. And then high school rolls around, go to a high school down in California that's went there for baseball and had some success there, and eventually got picked up to go to the UW, which was an unbelievable experience and still is, obviously, but such a great opportunity to have such a highly touted school like look at you and be like, oh, like you have something to offer us. So just very exciting.
That's awesome. And I know you told us right before we started you play third base. Have you always been a third baseman? What was the experience like to get into the hot corner? Because it's not one, at least when we were playing, that honestly a lot of people want to play. It's kind of like, hey, who's gonna play third base? Like stick the kid that's fearless over there. How did you get into the hot corner?
Yeah, no, totally. So I mean, growing up, I played shortstop. I never really played third. So pretty much everyone plays shortstop though, so it's not that big.
I was gonna say pretty tall third or pretty tall shortstop.
Yes. No. So I mean, I played shortstop when I pitched just like every other kid. And then when it got to high school, funny enough, so first year of high school was on JV. I played shortstop that entire year, which cool. Next year, I'm on varsity. And I start off the fall at shortstop. And then by the time season came around, I actually played second base. So
Okay.
I was playing second base my junior or sophomore and junior year of high school. So people thought of me as like this DJ LeMahieu, super tall second baseman, which it's true. Like I was 6'3" playing second base. Like I'm taller than our first baseman. Like that's kind of weird. So I played second for 2 years. And then my senior year of high school, I transitioned over to third base and have been there ever since pretty much. And I think it's one of the most fun positions because it's literally the ball's hit at you 110 miles an hour and you just have to react. Like there's not a whole lot of thinking going on. It's just, oh, this ball's on me. Just secure the catch, make a throw. It's more simple than some of the other positions, I would say so.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a special talent in that. I mean, you have to react quick, but then you're throwing it across the diamond, and only you and the catcher have to ever make that throw, really.
It's a long throw. Just got to get enough juice on it and just trust the guy over there can pick it and can make some good stretches.
Yeah, for sure. Well, part of what you said about getting picked up by UW and just just having that feeling of, hey, they want me, and they want me to be a part of what they're building. Tell us a little more about that feeling. Like, hey, this purple and gold team up in the Northwest, like, I heard that it rains a lot in Seattle, and that's all I know. Like, how did you feel? What did you think in that moment and in your decision to accept that offer?
Totally. And so just going back a little bit, like the whole like recruiting process was interesting because they were the only school that actually ever offered me out of any California schools or wherever else. They were the one school that had an interest in me as a player. So that, I think, obviously sparked just like an initial like, wow, like this school like genuinely wants me. The coaching staff, had conversations with them, and it's like, oh, like we see some value here, like let's go further with it. And I think walking on campus for that first time was like, whoa, like this is a big campus with really nice facilities, like good coaching staff, like Pac-12 school, like big boy baseball, like this is the real deal. Just very grateful that a school like that, like, essentially took a chance on some kid that didn't have as many offers as some other people. So I think it was such a good time and moment for that to happen. And I was super excited because before I didn't know anything about Washington. I didn't really know the Huskies very well. It's just like, oh, Seattle, like never been there. Like, let's go. Like it was the one opportunity and I thought it was the best fit. So yeah.
That's awesome. Tell us a little bit about, we talked a little bit about the position of third base. Tell us a little bit about your plate approach. What's your, what are you looking for? Is there a pitch that is your sweet spot? Is there a pitch that maybe you have a harder time against? And what we've only played through high school, so we don't obviously have college ball experience to compare that to, but also add in, what was that transition like, seeing probably some amazing Southern California pitchers, probably some of the best in high school baseball, but transitioning to D1 pitchers and just that kind of
Speed of the
experience.
game,
Yeah.
everything.
Totally. Okay. So it's a very simple question you're asking, but the answer I'm going to give you is not very simple.
Go for it.
Like in all honesty, there's so many different looks you could go at with this. So one, I would say just like a standard approach is like, for me, I'm looking for a fastball middle away, typically in a positive count. And if I happen to see you throw some sort of breaking ball up in the zone that I can recognize early enough, I'll go ahead and take a pass at it. But I'm not just like looking for one pitch in one spot necessarily, because I mean, at the D1 level, you see a lot of guys have command of 3+ pitches, and to be able to sit on one pitch, you might not get that pitch until 3-4 pitches into the at bat. So I would typically say, I'm looking for a fastball middle away, but like that can easily change depending on score of the game, runners in scoring position, which is a big one, because if it's second and third, nobody out, like 75% of the time he throws a curveball, like I might just sit on curveball the entire at bat and just take a chance on that. So it's interesting. The approach changes from pitcher to pitcher, at bat to at bat, and honestly pitch to pitch, because there could be a guy with throws 95 top of the zone, or a sinker ball guy who sinks it down at your feet. So the approach with those two different guys is going to be different, and then let the game dictate, score and runners in scoring position will definitely change. But yeah, it's just a very dynamic little chess game that you're playing with.
Yeah, definitely understand the simple answer, but this is what I'm gonna give you, because yeah, you kind of have to unpack it.
Yeah, you have to unpack certain parts of it. It's just like, it's that chess match. There's no like, oh, this is my approach and I always stick to it, because that you're not going to be very successful if you don't have different game plans for different guys. But having a game plan for that specific person is most important and will allow you to just have the most success.
Yeah. One thing that I'm curious about, just with like looking for different pitches and like the different speeds and everything. In high school you're looking at like good pitchers, kind of low 80s, maybe mid 80s. But then like you hit that next level and maybe as a freshman or just a young guy, you're playing against these 4 and 5 year guys who have really had time to develop and could arguably already be at the next level, but like they want to get the championship, they want to stick with the team, they want to get those years of college ball. So those guys maybe are low 90s, 95, and then you're up at the plate, you're expecting a fastball or something. What happens when you get just a super off speed pitch, and how do you adjust to that?
Yeah. So how do I adjust? That's a good one. I would say that trusting your vision, and like vision is a very important piece of this whole hitting thing. Like your ability to pick up spin or see fingertips or see a finger pointed up, or we hate the Astros, but picking pitches like
Yeah.
that's a real thing. Is that pitcher tipping pitches? Is the catcher getting lazy with putting down signs? So I mean, sometimes a guy will have a really wipeout slider or curveball that like you're not going to pick up very well. And it might just be like tip your cap, like you got me this time because
Yeah.
that was a gross pitch. It just depends though. I mean, whether you see it or you don't, like if it's a really good pitch, it might just be let me spoil that pitch with 2 strikes and he might give me another fastball. So
Yeah, no, for sure. One thing I'm curious, I mean, baseball, everybody has their own, whether it's a pregame thing or an in-game thing. There's a lot of stuff that everybody has their own thing in baseball, whether it's something in their head, whether it's something that they do. What's your thing, whether it's preparing the game or in the game, something you wear, something you think? What's your thing for baseball?
what's my thing? Yeah, baseball's a very superstitious sport.
Superstitious for sure.
We've got some weirdos everywhere. For
Or
me,
you can also think some of the craziest things you've seen.
okay. For myself, I have a routine with like going about, doing T, front toss, and BP before a game, but there's no like it has to be this amount of reps or amount of swings or these 3 songs I need to listen to. And no, it's more
Yeah.
I allow for it not to be superstition, but more routine based. That way it's not like, oh, if I don't do this, like I'm not going to do well. Like, no, it's so
Totally.
Over the summer, I really liked chewing gum while playing. It's just a very simple one, but it's this Trident, like tropical twist flavor package. And, it started off like I just had it in, got a couple hits. I was like, huh, like let's try it again tomorrow. And, just whether it does anything or not, like
Yeah.
the feeling of chewing the gum and like it felt like it relaxed my jaw, which relaxed my face when I'm in the box. So simple as that, just a little bit of relaxation. I would say that's about the only thing that's like more consistent than others is just chewing gum.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Going to the team dynamic more, tell us about your experience. You're going into is it your 4th season this year?
Senior year in school, but I'm a junior eligibility.
Okay, so you're going into your 3rd like active playing season. Yeah. What's the dynamic like with the team? How are you guys stacking up for this coming spring compared to how last season finished up, in Pac-12? Give us a little bit of rundown on the team dynamic. There's the on the field and there's the off the field. So how is the group of guys, aside from the actual ball, and then what are we looking at for kind of expectations for 2023?
Sure. The cohesion of the group this year is, I think, very tight. It's a very tight-knit group, and I think we get along very well. There's not a lot of opposing people like arguing and doing this and that, which, will happen. You're a team. Like adversity comes, people handle it differently, but it's a very tight group. And I think we're an older team at this point, a lot of 3rd-year guys, 4th-year guys. So we have more experience with that on the field and off the field of just like getting to know each other. Like we know how each of us work and like what we do. So I think it makes it a good dynamic off the field of like becoming a tighter group, and that translates really well to on the field. And about kind of expectations and season. So last season obviously ended on a very high note. Didn't make the postseason, which every team, you want to go to Omaha. Didn't happen, but from where we were in the beginning to how we finished was a night and day difference. We got hot, just it was a little too late, which sucks. But for this year, we have a whole new coaching staff, new head coach, 2 new assistants, like pretty much clean slate, which is exciting. And they are some of the best coaches I have ever had. Very intelligent, very smart, very caring. Like they care about you as a person before a ball player. So they understand like what's important, like what actually matters. Like, can you hit a ball 400 feet, or like, are you a good person? Like they
Nice.
it's really awesome. And it's a very close coaching staff. Like the staff themselves are like best buds. Like they're talking baseball all day. It's the real baseball people. And so that just kind of like folds over into us and is very contagious. So very positive mindset, very positive group of guys that is really, we're like that because of the coaching staff. They are very proactive and about baseball life and everything. So it allows us to have a little bit more freedom, just like go out and play, like get rid of the stress and tension of baseball that you don't need, and then just go have some fun and perform. So
Yeah, it's a stressful enough sport, and so it's cool that all, it sounds like it comes naturally that they foster that for the team, and it comes from the top down like that, and that sounds like good leadership.
it's excellent leadership, and they're the right kind of people. They know, they just get it. Like we hear that term, like, but they truly understand like people, relationships, and the failure aspect of this game, because you fail 7 out of 10 times and you're a Hall of Famer. So
Yeah, it's a game of failure, and you hear that whether you're a fan or a player or a coach, and it's so true.
yeah, and it's just like, how do you deal with failure, adversity, and overcoming those down points? Like, how do you get back to baseline and then level out and be like, hey, like we got this, let's go. So in terms of like for the Huskies, I think we will be in a very good spot this year. We have a lot of returning guys. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of change. We don't have 20 new guys coming in that we have been. There will definitely be more just cohesion amongst us. And I think we can hit, we can pitch, we can defend like at a high level, at a higher level than we have. So I think we'll be right in the mix with some of the best teams in the country here. So I think it is a very exciting for Husky baseball.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. I was gonna ask, we don't want to keep you all night, but just a couple more questions. What is one thing that you love about baseball? It could be an aspect of the game itself. It could be something that it's taught you, because the cool thing about baseball, like you said, you started playing when you were 3 in the backyard, and you can play till you're 75, on a co-ed softball team. You can really play it like your whole life if you want to. But just that raw aspect of baseball, like what's one thing that, you hang up the cleats one day, your college career's done, pro career, whatever is sunset, but you'll always look back and just like, man, I love that. I love that thing.
Yeah, I think that the fact that baseball is like, it's such a challenge. Like it's different every day. There's no, this is what you see and it's the same every day. Like the variables change like dramatically from every aspect, offense, defense, pitching, like the umpire, like everything's out of your control. Like everything, you don't know what's going to happen. And so that makes it that much harder to like focus up and like be okay with failure. Like it's, 7 out of 10 times you fail. So it's like, wow, like how can I find the fun in this? But I think that's what makes it fun, is like, it's a really hard thing to do. So when you are succeeding, it makes it feel that much better. So it's this giant challenge, honestly.
Yeah, I love that. And like on just like a bigger note, I mean, baseball is such a life game. It's such a life sport. Like I mean, not just the fact that like we watch the majors on TV for almost 9 months out of the year, but like just the fact that you could play from 3 to 93 and just it becomes such a part of people's lives, but also how you just described it, such a reactionary sport, whether it's the umpires, the changing variables, the ball gets hit, where are you going with it? You're up to bat, you're reacting to the pitch that's thrown. You're gonna choose how to respond to that. I feel like that's such a just a signifying thing of life in general is you have to figure out how to react. You have to figure out how to work with other people. Like it all intertwines. And at the end of the day, like it's such a life game in so many aspects.
I think it's the perfect like emulator of life. It's just you don't know what's coming, like react, go. Have some fun.
For sure.
Like
Yeah.
screw you, go react. And
Yeah.
Yeah. Put your feelings aside. What do I need to do? Like, what's the task in front of me?
exactly. Put your feelings aside and complete the task. Like
Mhm.
that's literally the game. And
Yeah. I mean, you always hear the ball's going to find you when you least expect it. And so, like, if you're sitting on your heels, if you're thinking about that girl from math class, like, that's when the ball's going to hit you. So, you always got to be ready. You always got to be in this situation. Where am I going to go with the ball if it comes to me?
it's absolutely it's the slowest game until the ball's hit at you. Then
I
the fastest
like
game
that.
in the world. Like nothing happens. It's it's been 7 innings. You don't have a ball hit to you. Then all of a sudden, whack, 110. Oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's cool to think about. Well, we like to give everybody the opportunity at the end of every interview to just make some shout outs, send some thank yous, just recognition to whether it's the people you got that got you here, your family, your teammates, whoever.
oh awesome. Yeah. Obviously gonna shout out my whole family. Because without them and their support and their love, I would not be in the position I am today. Absolutely. Also shout out to the McKinnons because without knowing them, I would not be known Robertson. So I think I owe that the biggest shout out.
For sure.
That's cool.
But yes, that's about it.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, it's we both played baseball our whole lives, through high school. And so it's such a sport of, the people that got you there. And even when you're still in it, like the locker room, the teammates, the dugout, the coaches, even if there's turnover in the staff. There's so many people that, yeah, there's only 9 of you on the field at a time, but there's so many people and players behind the scenes that, there might be that guy that never sees action in his 4 years, but he's the biggest cheerleader, on the bench. And you need those guys, like they all play a part.
Absolutely. Everybody has a role and take pride in your role. So
Yeah, for sure. Well, like I said at the beginning, it's cool to bring guys like you on to mix it up in the off season, especially when baseball's kind of at a lull. Everybody's just, enjoying Christmas and the New Year's. And yeah, we can talk about transactions around the league, but it gets kind of dry. And of course, football takes a lot of attention right now. So it's cool to bring the people stuff like this. Talk shop for a little while and just chop it up about ball, because also like turn of the new year, the season's going to be here in a couple months.
yeah, it'll be there real quick.
Yeah. Well, Michael, really good hearing a little bit about your story. We're really excited for you and the Huskies. I'm sure when you and Hunter talked last time, he told you that we grew up Huskies. We both went to Boise State, so we're big Broncos fans, but they don't even have a baseball team, which is still kind of a sore subject for us. But hey, we're rooting for you guys. We're big Huskies fans, even more so when we have a personal connection. So hopefully you guys go out and kick some butt and Pac-12 get to Omaha this season.
Absolutely. That's the goal. So
Yeah, we'll have to make it out to a game this spring
For sure.
because that's also one of the coolest facilities around.
Mhm.
I can get you guys tickets. So
Yeah, we played on that field. Oh man, I don't even know. It was like a for fun summer ball league one year we played. We had like cut off tank tops and it was a good time, but that is an awesome ballpark.
it's a beautiful one. Seeing Mount Rainier in the background. It's
Oh yeah. I
unreal.
mean, I think it's under recognized because people say it's the best setting in college football, but little do people know right next door.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you again, Michael. Really appreciate it. And yeah, it was awesome to hear your story, and we'll be cheering you guys on for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me. And this was a blast. I love talking baseball, talking shop. It's all I can ask for. So thank you.
Of course, man. Yeah. And we'll see how the Huskies do in 2023.
Yes, sir. You got it.
All right, man. Thanks,
Yeah,
Michael.
Go Dogs.
Awesome. Thank you.